Okay, we're back again here on the House on the Hill, and I wanted to go back to kind of a summary of the metaphysics uh, of what I've come up with now in 5 books, and it's kind of going back to the first metaphysics of being something from nothing and expanding on it even further. What I have here is if we imagine everything, and this being all of space, this circle, um, and you could say this is the universe or the totality of everything that there is out there. And in here you have the something of where we live and all the planets and everything, solar system and everything is here. And then it seems to go on forever, but Einstein and scientists have proved now that this is a discrete unit. Um, we know how many bits are in this universe. We know that it is discrete. We know that it started at the Big Bang. It's suspected that it's going to end at some point because something with a beginning has an end. Um, uh, when I say we know how many bits are in the universe, 10 to the power of 127, that's pretty much a accepted scientific fact. If we accept that there is some fundamental unit to the universe, a Planck unit. So we have the totality of everything here, and this is our perceived universe, and we have something here and we have nothing out here. So then we go back now to time and we talk about, okay, time started at the Big Bang, and that's an accepted fact now. And to the current date, it is a discrete unit. It started here and it's basically ended here with our current conception of reality. You could also depict it like this, that it started here and it's just going out to infinity from there. Um, but everything that has a beginning needs to have an end. Uh, so I don't know if this infinite going forward in time is possible. Um, and this also ties down to here reality. Our reality, as proved by Planck in 1900, is discrete. All of our ideas, all of our atoms, all of everything in the universe is discrete. We think in discrete units. So all of our um, photons are discrete. Um, Everything is discrete. And that means that everything is limited. We live in this limited universe which is bounded by this. Um, So, given that there's this beginning, if you had an omniscient God right here, that something caused this initial uh, something that started time and the universe, space and time, everything by necessity after that point is deterministic and part of a cause and effect. Just like billiard balls, you know that once this happened, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And no matter how complex it got out here, an omniscient God, if you know the first effect in this billiard ball chain, um, everything is deterministic. So, given that, um, we know determinism and cause and effect is the nature of the universe, and you can try to explain it away with quantum mechanics and indeterminacy and free will, but it's not there due to this fact. So we have this illusion of free will, and this is really crazy. But given that if the Big Bang's true, and we know it's true, um, everything is deterministic from that point forward. including your thoughts, which are discrete. Um, Another point, an important point, and this kind of comes from Heidegger, is that if you want to know whether you have a free will, you are thrown into the world, whether this is the Big Bang or this is your birth here. You are thrown into the world here, into existence at this point, without given a choice. So there is no, you're not free not to be. You were thrown into the world without freedom, without asking your permission. You came into be with um, um, due to this cause and effect scenario. So there's another example of where you don't have freedom. And on the back end here, everyone's going to die. So here's another example on the back end that you don't have freedom. You are limited, and you are going to die someday. So you didn't have a choice at the beginning coming into existence, and you don't have a choice at the end coming out of existence. So the overriding meta theory is that you live in a deterministic cause and effect universe, and there is no freedom at all. So how do our minds ever um, break out of this, or um, how can it ever get out of it? And Nietzsche would try to argue that possibly man starts to emerge as an overman outside of that, that a mind has emerged, it starts to emerge out of this deterministic, limited way of thinking, and and can attain freedom, ultimate freedom. Whether that's possible or not, I don't know. Um, but again, given that there's a beginning and a second happening, a third happening, a fourth happening, all of this is billiard ball, and even me grabbing this pen or putting this whiteboard up or anything could be predetermined once you know the initial cause. And David Hume, I believe, stated this as well. Um, so then there's some paradoxes to all of this. Well, the paradox being that we live in a deterministic world, um, and we think we live in a world with a mixture of determinism and free will. So there appears to be that illusion to it. But again, I go back to there's no way of getting around this. If you know the first cause, you know everything after, and there is no free will in that system at all. So that's really crazy and bizarre. And I don't think mathematically or logically there's any way around that whatsoever, other than us saying that, okay, I'm picking up this pen and I'm saying I am doing this by my own volition, that I have free will to do that. Um, a strict determinist would say all of that was predetermined here um, by an omniscient God or uh, uh, first first cause. So then some of the paradoxes that come about um, is that, okay, we are viewing everything, our reality, in discrete. That includes our ideas. Now, this is Planck units, the smallest unit in the universe. These are our ideas. Everything is discrete. We think of this pen, we think of this table. Every idea is a discrete idea. Even our view of everything, we cannot conceive of anything that is not discrete. So this is really amazing. Even if we try to think of a infinite universe that it's not this way, if you were to think that way, this would be a blank here. There would be no circle there. It would just be a blank. There would be nothing at all. Time would not exist in an infinite universe, and our ideas wouldn't be discrete. There would be no ideas whatsoever. But so we're in this limited universe, so that is the truth of our reality, and all of this contains limits and imperfection. Imperfection of these are not platonic forms. These are all everything is imperfect in our world, and there is evil, there is suffering, and all of that. So all of the imperfections and all the suffering and all of the evil exists within this limited world. And then you have these paradoxes that were come up by M.C. Escher, who um, showed that his Escher tilings that an infinite amount of images can be contained within a finite image. So that seems like even if it's bounded, it's unbounded because you have the infinite regress internally. We talked about this in Metaphysics of Being, where the something is bounded by nothing out here, but it's also bounded by nothing internally as well. If you were to go to the innermost point in that circle, it's bounded by nothing because that goes on forever in there. And that leads to something else, which Parmenides said that ex nihilo ex fit, nothing comes from nothing, which in effect is the same way of saying eternal life, that really all of this is infinite, and there's something everywhere. Well, we know that's not the case because we know of the Big Bang, and we know we live in a discrete world, so we know we are experiencing the finite world. So even though these paradoxes are below it, the way we currently are living and thinking and viewing reality is limited and imperfect. Jacob Bernoulli also talked about how there's an infinite amount of members in this finite line, and William Blake talked about eternity in an hour. So all these paradoxes exist, but when you start getting down to these smaller um, conceptions of particles or ideas or mathematical entities, um, they lose all meaning. Our world is table, pen, whiteboard, ideas, and even if you said there's an infinite amount of something below that, it has no bearing on the universe which we live, because these smaller units are so incrementally small, they have no significance in our universe. So then you can talk about, are there many worlds out here? Okay, this is discrete, but is there something else out here? Or is there something else in there of this many worlds? And possibly within those worlds, everything is completely different from the way that we're understanding the universe. Um, that maybe the laws, as Wheeler stated, law without law, maybe our laws of gravity and space and time and the flow of time and discreteness, maybe it's completely different in an infinite universe, in an infinite state of being of the meta theory of everything. So that's just the world that we live in. So despite all that, um, uh, as I've stated in the last couple of books, the emphasis on beauty and love is the only answer to human existence, given that there's all these limits and imperfections and death and suffering and so forth, as much as you can concentrate on beauty and love, um, and the appreciation of every moment being a sacrament is the only solution to existence, as Leo Buscaglia stated. So that's the big paradox, and really these couple of little images depict all that. So so there is no freedom in a limited world in the way we are experiencing it. That's the way it seems, because, like I said, as you have once you have the first cause, you have all the other causes, um, and everything else is an illusion beyond that. So where now this when you start talking about immortality, where does the perfection is there perfection in the universe? And we know that this is imperfect. So anything that is discrete and limited and would have suffering, and you can chop my arm off and that hurts, and you can stick a needle in my eye and that hurts, all of that has to contain um, imperfection. And this is another crazy thing, is it's only upon this death of when you become a nothing that you could become unlimited, infinite, and perfect. So that's really um, kind of a crazy, bizarre thought, but um, death appears to be nothing to fear out here. The problem with death is that we, in our limited minds, are are fearful of death. So the fear of death here is where the suffering occurs, again in the limited world. But the actual death, the immortality of death out here, is a perfect state of existence. As crazy as that sounds. So it's the fear and the suffering out here, and then out here with the nothingness that's unbounded, is the perfection out there. So that's a summary of just what the my metaphysics is, and whether it makes sense, or uh, of the way we think that we're living the world or not. I don't know. These are just facts. So that's the end of the video.